Hi everyone. My name is Paolo. I work for Implant Concierge. I'm one of the CAD designers, and I'm going to be demonstrating some cool stuff today. If you haven't had a chance to watch my webinar from a couple weeks ago with Zan, now you have a better chance to look at what I'm doing on demonstrating the N2fre Glaze and the Rodin Palette 2.0 kit as well. I have a couple colors here. As you can see, I have the pink, red, cream, violet, and blue. Blue, normally I use it for my translucency. Red and pink and purple or violet is for my tissue. I would also have a little tube saying pink and red pink actually, but for some reason I cannot find it today. So I'm just gonna mix these two and call it a day and work it like that. So my initial step, obviously, I would highly recommend to use the auto flash if you have it. You do not need the nitrogen hookup because the N2fre glaze, you don't need it. It's N2fre. So my first step is coat my prosthesis, my prototype, in N2fre glaze. Now, what I recommend here is not to use, not to go heavy with the glaze. You don't want to destroy the anatomy, the texture that you put on. So, like you see, I didn't put a lot. I'm just move that glaze around, like here in the proxima, for instance. And if I have a little excess of glaze, I'm going to wipe it on my glove. Wear gloves all the time, by the way. Safety, always first. Since I'm doing some characterization on the teeth, I'm going to add a little bit on the lingual of these interiors, and I'm not going to put it too much, but you should be able to coat everything. Now, I'm not going to coat the whole prosthesis in glaze just because this is a demo. It's not going in mouth. It's pretty flat, but it's just to show you off how to do it. Now, if you're using the auto flash, I recommend using at least 1,000 flashes for the first glaze. I do not have an auto flash, but I'm just going to use my Asiga for about 120 seconds. And but for the auto flash, I would use at least between 1,000 and 1,500. You don't want to maximize. You don't want to go over 4,500 flashes when you're doing your curing. You want to make sure to glaze while curing. And the way I've been doing is I do 500 flashes for each color that I'm doing. So I know I'm going to have at least 1,000 flashes left for my final cure. But if you think you can do, you need a lot of colors, and you're reaching close to 4,500 flashes, I would strongly suggest to do at least 400 flashes. That gives you an extra 100 flashes basically for each color. The reason why for the color, it needs to have at least 400 flashes in order to cure properly. I do 500 because it's easier for me to count to 4,500. Honestly, I've never been great at math, so for me that's easy. So I do 1,500 flashes for my first coat, then 500 for each color. And when I do my final set cure is another at least 1,000 flashes or whatever it's remaining for the 4,500 flashes. So if I'm at, let's say with the colors and the first cure, if I'm at 2,000 flashes, if I leave 2,000 flashes, then I'm going to use that last 2,000 flashes for my final set cure. And again, you do not need nitrogen, and this product is a game changer in our industry. You can glue teeth onto the denture base. You can glaze your denture. It's pretty phenomenal. It works on zirconia as well. I tried it in Emacs. I haven't been so successful with Emacs, probably because it was my fault, but zirconia has been working really nice. So now I have my coat of glaze, and now I'm going to start adding some color. So let's do it together. I'm going to use violet first. That's my first step. So I'm gonna squirt some of the material in. You don't need a lot, honestly, just a little bit. And what I recommend is use 1 drop of the N2fre. The reason why you want at least a little drop on the N2fre is because you don't want just the color itself, its paste. So it is gonna leave some texture. It won't be as smooth. And so that's what I recommend doing. So I'm gonna mix it with the glaze, and then I'm gonna start. See, that's a little too much there, right? So I'm gonna go wipe it off. It just needs to be a very light coat. You don't need anything fancy. You don't need anything crazy for your first coat of purple for your base of the tissue. And if you want to start doing your characterization on your teeth here, that's totally okay as well. I tend to do it later, but that's totally up to you, honestly. So I see that towards the centrals, there's not enough. It doesn't have to be heavy, but you still want to see it, that you did something. So if it's too light, then I would add a little more. I'm using the big brush, but you can use whichever brush you're comfortable with. I do like this big brush that comes with the kit, actually. And you can use, if you tilt it like this, you can go between papillas. It's quite nice. Once you're satisfied, let's do a little more. Once you're satisfied with this, then you're just going to put it back in the auto flash. And remember, if you have the auto flash, it's 500 flashes. Okay. If you don't have the auto flash, you can still use a different kind of light curing. But like I said before, the auto flash is your ultimate beast, is a gold standard in 3D printing world nowadays. So I would strongly suggest to invest into the auto flash. I do not know the price, but it's a great investment. And if you want the nitrogen hookup for other kind of resins like night guards, for the candy coat technique, then you can do that. But for this kind of procedure, you really don't have to. All right, the next step I'm going to mix the red and pink tubes. Let's do a little more. That didn't come out right. There you go. All right, red and pink. If you want to use just the red, that's also totally fine. I personally don't recommend it. One of my first tries when I did the red, when I put the red on the tissue, I was so happy how it looked. Then I got the little bit in the mouth. It was way too red. It looked like this patient had period disease. So let's remove this, and now that's what I have. I have a nice coat of violet. Now I already put a drop of glaze on my mixture of red and pink. So I'm just gonna mix it well. Now, what I like to do is I start from the bottom. See, that's a little way too red. But we can work it out. See, that's way better. And what I do is just coat the whole thing, every single aspect of the tissue. One thing that I like about this brush also is that I can create quote unquote texture on the tissue. Like if you haven't done some stippling on the tissue, then you can sort of mimic that with this brush just by tapping. So it's quite nice. All right, critical point. I put some red on my tooth. Now, this is not the end of the world because it's not a real case. But if it was a real case and you're in a rush, don't panic. Unless you cure it, you don't have to panic. If you cure it, I still wouldn't panic, but you would have to grind it off. So you would have to remove it. So with this, I'm just gonna do with this, and there you go. I removed it. Now let's go back to this one. If you're starting off and you realize, hey, I just put too much, I want to start over, don't worry about it. Just what I would do is grab some tissue like this, dip it in alcohol, IPA, and remove everything. Let it dry and go from there. But when you do an IPA, you got to be very, very careful. It has to be very fast, and it can't be too much IPA also, because you don't want to have that chalkiness that it comes out after for post processing. And I'm gonna go over that in a little bit after I'm done with this. So again, I'm gonna go over the papillas. We all know that towards the CJ, there's normally a little less. It's not as heavy, but it's definitely a little darker towards the bottom, right? There's a couple ways that you can do it. Honestly, there's not. This is the way I do it. This is the way I like to do it. If I had a patient in the chair and I was doing this, then I would approach differently. I wouldn't be as. I would probably just do a couple brushes here and there and call it a day, because the patient is in the chair, is waiting. It's been a long day, long time, long surgery. So that's what I would do if I was in the chair. But since it's if you're just doing it for the next day, I would spend some time and make it a little pretty, you know. So again, I'm gonna keep going like this, and add some more material, more chroma on my tissue. Then once I'm satisfied, I'm gonna call it, and I'm gonna put it back in my curing. I've always loved the red. Honestly, I know I probably said that before. I'm sorry, but I've always loved that. It's been my favorite color for tissue, and it can be very dangerous. All right, once I'm satisfied, I'm gonna put it back in the box. I don't do the full cure for this box because it's not it will over cure. So let's talk about curing. Rodin Titan, Sculpture 2.0, and they're really critical. You have to read the instruction that comes with it. And most of the times you don't, not most of the times, you cannot wash an IPA. Like for instance, your nitrile material like Keystone Soft or Keysplint Soft, Keysplint Hard, whatever it is, oftentimes you have to put it in the wash and your in IPA for at least two and a half minutes or something like that. Rodin, you can't. You have to dip it for like a second, less than a second, and repeat that movement each time. I recommend having a hair hose next to your washing station. So you're going to dip your Rodin Titan prosthesis or Sculpture 2.0 prosthesis in the IPA, remove it immediately, grab the arrows, and start spraying it, start drying it off. Oftentimes you're using it, most of the times I assume you're going to be using it for hybrids, right? So you have screw channels, it can be angle screw channels, it can be straight screw channels, it doesn't matter. However, it matters when you're trying to clean off the excess of material, of resin inside the screw axis hole. You do not want to cure it, because then your screw is not going in, and then you have to reprint it and do over again. It's a waste. So what I recommend is get a Q-tip and just use that Q-tip or a micro brush as well. Dip that micro brush in your IPA and just go over that screw axis hole, and that helps out. If you have arrows, that also helps a lot. Grab that and start spraying that air all over the place until it's completely dry. If you feel that it's still a little tacky, go back with your in IPA and do it again until it looks nice. But it shouldn't have any white chalkiness. Like for instance, this one here. You see that I put a little, I was borderline. See, I was borderline because you can see the white chalk here. So I put a little too much. But I just wiped it off because it didn't cure it completely. So let's do it. Let's redo this one. So that's what I would do. I would recommend doing your IPA 1 second, 2 seconds each time. I know some people have used a very soft brush as well. You can still use that; it works. And but I wouldn't leave it in the IPA for more than a couple seconds, not more than a couple seconds. How to remove this 3D print of your build plate? So I know a lot of people like to use the scrape, the knife plate that it comes with most printers. I hate that, honestly, and the reason is because there's oftentimes when you start scraping it off from the build plate, there's a chance that that metal sharp object that you're holding with your right hand or left hand is going to snuck out of the build plate and it might hit your finger. Then you're going to go get a couple of stitches. It has happened before. I have personal experience with that. I have 4 stitches on my thumb many years ago, and ever since that accident, I've been using clippers, and they were like $7-8 off Amazon, and you just snip it and pull it like a Velcro. Basically, it works perfect every single time. And also, cutting those supports with the clipper is actually way better than grabbing a burr and start destroying all your anatomy. There's a chance you're still going to ruin the anatomy a little bit because the supports are pretty much everywhere, but it's way better than using an actual burr, whether it's an acrylic burr or diamond burr, disc, anything. All right, so that's better. So if you're okay with this, what we can do is let's do some of the blue. Let's do some translucency. You don't need a ton, and what I would do here is I would probably try to use a little, just like that. I think that should be enough. If not, we can always go back and add some more glaze. Always have a tissue next to you because it's always helpful to have it. All right, what I would do for this is just be careful because the blue is very, very blue. Like it's extremely translucency. And it can look very unnatural oftentimes. So see it like that. I had to wipe it off because it was too much. So the thing that I would do is, make sure that you're not applying too much. Something like that should be fine. And the other thing that you can do if you want some more translucent, you can also add it a little bit on the lingual. And that's why I glazed the lingual of this. Now this tooth is pretty thick, but if it wasn't thick, it will most likely gonna show off. The kit comes with a variety of possible things that you can use for your translucency. It has a black option. Black, I will use it for A3s mostly, honestly. It works beautiful, but that's what I will use it for. Cream can work really nice if you have to do a halo translucency. That works That's the only one that I actually kind of like, to be honest with you. And the same thing, actually, I'm going to use it from over here. One thing that I strongly recommend also when you're doing this, I would strongly recommend to have a little glass. It can be plastic glass or it can be actual glass, but with IPA in it, so you can wipe your brush off and clean it, dry it off, so there's no cross contamination between each color. If this was a real case, that's what I would have done, but it's not the end of the world if it's not a real case. So just like in porcelain, right? You can create the halo. Just by applying very, very, very light. It doesn't have to be super that much. Now, what I'm seeing though is that I applied too much blue. So I'm gonna try to wipe it off or disperse a little more. That's a little better. Same thing here. I can do my translucency. If you want to be a little more creative as well, we can add some orange brown on in a proximal. So let's do that. You can use an endo file here. That works fine as well. I don't have any endo file, but I've been using the little tiny brush that comes with the kit, and I think it's been working pretty good, honestly. So we'll add some chroma, some color in a proximal to mimic the depth of the tooth, right? Just like that. And what I like to do after I'm done with this is I like to add some more of my red and pink mixture and put in between so I can get more of that papilla that I missed before with the big brush. And pretty much anywhere that I missed, really, because it looks like I missed a couple of spots as well. So let's finish that. Let me use this brush. What I like to do also is try to create some depth on my between on the tissue so it doesn't look that uniform. See, I put a little too much there. I'm just gonna keep wiping it off. That's what I like to do over here. I'm gonna keep adding it on my papillas. When you apply with the brush, don't go heavy with the brush, just very light striation, layering techniques. Don't go too heavy. All right, so now we're gonna do another cure. So let's take a look at this denture also. This is one of the demo that I did a couple weeks ago, and you can see that I actually glued the teeth on my onto the base, and it's rock solid. This is not coming out. The chemical bond chemical bond between the N2fre and the base is rock solid. this is not gonna come off unless you grab a set of pliers and destroy the whole thing. Now you can certainly glaze this. You can add the same mixture that I had here and you start applying it after you do your set of glaze. You can also, what you can do is, let's say you're gluing the teeth, you can do a set glaze all around on your first curing light, on your first curing. So in that 1500 flashes that you're doing with the auto flash, you can certainly add up and add the whole glaze everywhere. So that's what I'm doing here. I mean, this was already, I already cured this. I didn't cure the whole thing. You can see the teeth and the palette. I didn't cure it. I didn't glaze it, sorry. But I glazed pretty much everywhere else. And you can, I would suggest to, I would probably suggest to use your software design, whether it's 3Shape, Axocad, or Real Guide, for your to mimic a better papillas, a better tissue. If you're not sure how to do it in the software, that's fine. You can just grab a burr, a diamond burr, acrylic burr, and start. Well, acrylic burr would be better, honestly, and start your contouring, tissue contouring. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so let's say we're happy with this. Okay, now let me get a brush, and I'm going. What I'm going to do is I am going to glaze it. When you glaze it, don't put too much glaze because it's going to be. It has to be a very light glaze, just like in porcelain, right? So in porcelain, you have to put a little, very faint glaze. Otherwise, it's going to ruin your anatomy. And same thing if you're doing your, it's the same concept for meal, for instance, right? If you put too much glaze, it's going to bubble up on, not bubble up, but it's going to be on your, it will ruin your anatomy, your texture, it will disappear. Versus if you put a very light coat, then you're getting a nice texture. And it's the same concept here. It's really the same exact concept. All right, so now I have my prosthesis. Remember, I added some translucency and some halo on number 8. I did not add halo on 7. And I put an proximal stain to make it look 2 different teeth, basically, instead of being all one. Probably a little too much, maybe, but it's all right. It's all right. All right, so let's get rid of that. I'm going to put this in. I'm going to definitely overcure this, but the color is not the end of the world for this one. All right, so now we have this one. There it is. We have a denture. What we can do with the denture now is we can do pretty much anything, right? You can glaze it. You can, if you like it like this, then you don't just put a coat of glaze and call it a day. Let's say you want to add some more, or you want to be a little darker. You can certainly do that. So let's grab this. Let's start putting some purple. If you mix purple and the red, it will give a darker color on your tissue. So it will look, a different kind of pigment, basically, on the color. The Rodin comes in different colors as well for the base, denture base. They have a light, they have a standard one, they have a darker one. So they're all, if you have a lot of patients with the darker tissue, then you can use that kind of Rodin Titan, Rodin Base 2.0. Or if you want the standard one and then just thin it up, that's also totally fine. Just make sure to follow the instructions when it's 4500 flashes. That's one thing that I like about Pectant Rodin. It's that all their resins are 4500 flashes max. So that's actually quite nice when it comes to staining and glazing, because you don't have to worry about, oh, what is the max that you can do. There's a lot of resins out there. Onyx, Bago, Flexera, I think it's still around. Flexera, I believe. Flexera is I believe it was 2 times 3000 flashes. Bago, I believe, is 4000 flashes or 3000 flashes. I don't remember now. So every resin is different. But the best part about Rodin is that all the resins are 4500 flashes for the prototype, though, and dentures. I'm not sure about the Rodin splint. I really don't do a lot of night cards, to be honest with you. Their surgical guys also is a little different as well. But when it comes to prosthesis, they're all the same. They're all 4500 flashes. All right, so now that's our prototype. If you feel that it's still a little tacky and it's not as smooth, then you have to add some more glaze. You have to cure it again. This is not tacky, luckily. But with the auto flash, you shouldn't have any issues with 4500 flashes. Anything that goes in the mouth should honestly be your auto flash, because it's the standard procedure. It works awesome. It's the best light curing in the industry. One thing that I was asked before is that what happens if I'm delivering a prototype, I see this canine is a little too bulky, it's a little too far out. What can I do without destroying the glaze? Well, not much, obviously, right? You have to take it down. The best part is that you take it down, you remove the glaze. I get it. It happens. We've had it happen. I've seen it many times. But what you can do is grab the light curing light that you have at chair side, apply it, and cure it. My recommendation is cure in the under turbo. So I believe that's about 2500, 3500, give or take. And cure for about 20 seconds. 20, 30 seconds should do the trick. If you're not using turbo, it should be a lot longer than that. And it also depends on the frequency. If it's 1200, 2000, 1200, I believe that's the normal one, but not turbo one. So I would do at least a minute, and that will give you a nice set cure for the glaze. All right, so that was it. That was the demonstration for the Rodin Sculpture 2.0, Rodin Titan, Rodin Palette Kit 2.0 also, and the fantastic N2fre glaze. As I said before, it's a game changer for me because I've also used it for zirconia, and I've had great success on zirconia. I have one case with the N2fre glaze for a full upper hybrid, and it's been in mouth for at least 6-7 months right now, and I'm documenting it, taking a look at it. I have my doctor looking at every time the patient comes back for hygiene appointments and check the glaze. So far, it's been rock solid. And the fact that you can glue the teeth onto the base is also phenomenal. And that was it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or one of the Zon's representative. We're happy to help you. And I hope you enjoyed this demonstration, and I'll be available for any questions.